Welcome to Chiropad TV. This is Dr. Paul Bindell, President of Life Systems Software. It is with great pleasure that we provide you with this segment of our video training series for the ChiroSuite programs. In this presentation, we are going to concentrate on the insurance catalog. To access the insurance catalog, once you have opened the program and you are on the front desk screen, click on Tools, Catalogs, and Insurance Carriers. When the insurance carrier screen opens, the first thing you see is the General tab. There are multiple items on this screen, and you will become familiar with all of them in order to get maximum use of the program. In addition to the General tab, there's the AMA tab, a Date Options tab, a Font Options tab, a Patients button, the IntelliSense button, and a Medicare button. In addition to that, on the AMA tab, there is also a button for more options. We begin with the General tab. In order to enter a new carrier in the system, the first thing you would do is click on the green starburst, and then when this screen is blank, enter an ID for this particular carrier. This ID can be numbers, letters, or a combination of letters and numbers, and it has meaning significantly for your office alone. It is not going to show up in any other system and is just for your in-house recognition. When the status says active, that means that this particular insurance carrier is going to be functional throughout the entire program, and you can assign patients to this carrier. If you change the status to inactive, then the only place that this carrier will show up is in this catalog, and you will not be able to access it from patient accounts. In the carrier box, you would enter the carrier's name. Where it asks for a payer ID, this is the number that is required for electronic claims. If you do not have a payer ID, then the system will not be able to generate claims to the various clearinghouses for electronic claims. If at this insurance company there is only one person that you contact and speak to, then enter that person's name in this box. However, if there are multiple individuals at that insurance company, or nameless individuals that you speak to, leave this box blank. The phone number for the insurance company is obvious. Because of our preparation for the Night Owl program that will fax things directly to insurance companies, you should enter fax numbers whenever you can get them. The post office box or the street address goes in this column, and then city, state, and zip code are standard. The notes that you enter in this box are specifically for your own reference. They will not be printed out, and they will not show anyplace else. So if you want to make comments about an insurance company that you want other staff members to know about, this is where you would enter it. The deductible reset is designed for those programs where all patients covered by this particular company have exactly the same deductible. For example, with Medicare, when the Medicare deductible changed from being $100 to being $110, you could have entered in this new box the 110. If you selected remaining and put 110 in there, then it would have set the remaining amount of the deductible to 110. You would then enter the start date and click on the reset button. That will reset the deductible in all the patients covered by this carrier to the new amount, and it will also reset the deductible remaining to whatever amount you put in this box. A word of caution as far as the remaining deductible is concerned. If the remaining amount is guaranteed to be met by the patient in your office, then it does make sense to enter this in the system so that the system will automatically transfer those amounts into the patient's responsibility, even though it will still bill the insurance carrier. However, if there is any chance that the remaining deductible is going to be met by the patient visiting other healthcare facilities than your own, our suggestion is leave this remaining amount set at 0, and then when the EOB comes in, make the appropriate entries at that time. The next tab in the insurance carrier catalog is for the AMA form. The first box here is referring to signatures. For the patient, you should have received their signature on a paper document on their first visit, and that allows you to put on file on the HCFA form. As far as the provider signature, if you like to sign every single form, then leave it set to original. However, if you send us your signature on the forms that we supply to you, we will digitize your signature so that the system will automatically sign every HCFA form with your actual signature. For the other insured, which is information that appears in box 9 of the HCFA form, the most common selection is to duplicate insured's information. However, occasionally it should be left blank, and on other rare situations for a given company, you may need to customize it. In order to customize it, you would click on Custom, and then just enter whatever is that custom text in the box below. For the diagnosis relationship, for box 24E, at this point in time, you should click on the drop-down box and choose the item that says 1-2 Use Actual DX Count. There are times that you need the diagnosis to print just the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 without commas, and there are other times that it should print with commas. That actually is a variable that is determined by each individual insurance company. The system default is to print it with the commas. However, if you want it to print without, just put a check in this box and it will print without. As far as the provider tax ID numbers that go in box 25 of the HCFA form, our recommendation is to not use your Social Security number, but put the dot next to employer identification number. This helps to prevent anyone from stealing your identity, and it still uses a valid number for tax purposes. If for this insurance company you have a specific PIN number or a group number, you would simply click into the box and type in whatever that number happens to be. Also on the HCFA form, there is a box 19 that says that it is reserved for local use. Depending upon the insurance company and the purpose of the form that you are sending in, there are different things that should go into this box. Click on the drop-down arrow above under Insert Placeholders, and you will see the various selections. The first items relate to Medicare. Going back years ago, in order to qualify for Medicare, you had to note the nature of illness, the subluxation level, and the date of last X-ray. If you put these three into this box for this insurance company, then as long as you enter this information in the patient's file, it will appear in box 19 of the HCFA form. If you enter something in error, simply click into the box, highlight the item that is wrong, and push the delete key on your keyboard. Also, when it comes to diagnoses, the insurance carriers get very disturbed if you enter more than 4 diagnoses in the large box 21. However, the insurance industry has said that if you have more than 4 diagnosis codes to enter, they will accept them if you enter those additional diagnosis codes in box 19. So by selecting diagnoses 5 to 8, then those additional diagnoses codes will show up automatically in box 19. Also, in certain parts of the country, Medicare has what they call the Medicare Demonstration Project, and they require a date last seen and the doctor's UPIN number in box 17A. So you'd be able to enter this if you are part of that project, and it will show up automatically where it needs to. In the lower right corner, you have a button that says More Options. When you click on this button, it gives you the ability to change the appearance of certain specific items on the HCFA form. In the upper right corner, where the system usually prints the name and address of the insurance company, it is sometimes necessary to not print. There are certain insurance carriers that specifically tell you that if you print in that area, they will reject the claim. So if you need to shut off the printing, click on Disable Print in Address Area. In box 21, when diagnosis codes are being printed, there are occasions where the insurance carrier says they only want numbers, they don't want the decimal point. For example, if they told you that instead of 739.1, they want just 7391, then you would be able to put a check in this box, and you will be able to print it without decimals. You would then also need to designate, do you want it to be 739 space 1 or just 739.1? In column 24K of the HCFA form, this is alongside of each service that you have entered on the HCFA form. Some insurance companies want your PIN number, others want your state license number, others want nothing. So you need to go according to which is right for this carrier and fill it in appropriately. In box 31, alongside of your signature, some insurance carriers want your state license number. For your own benefit, you should put the claim created date in that box as well. For box 32, Medicare started this. Even though all of your clinic information, your name, address, and phone number, etc., are in box 33, Medicare turned around and said, we want it to appear in box 32 even if you are the treating doctor and treat in your own office. So if you need to, other insurance companies have now gotten on the bandwagon, so you can put a check in this box and box 33's information will be duplicated in box 32. In box 33, if you want the insurance company to be paying under your clinic name, you should put a check next to Disable Physician's name so that only the clinic name will show up in box 33. Otherwise, they will write out the check to your personal name instead of your clinic name. Also, under the address, they many times want your provider PIN number in box 33, so you should put a check in the box there as well. Once you have finished completing these options, click OK. The next tab is for date options. Beginning with January 1st of 2006, Medicare says that they want a 4-digit year in every single box that could hold a date. So our recommendation is across the board, put in the 4-digit year. However, if any specific insurance carrier gives you a hard time, all you need to do is uncheck these boxes, and as you uncheck them, when the forms print out, it will show only a 2-digit year. The date delimiters determine the format of how the date will appear, whether there will be no date, slashes between the month, day, and year, dashes between the month, day, and year, spaces between the month, day, and year, and if you choose custom, then you would need to make a very specific entry as to how it should appear. The next tab over is for font options. The default fonts that we provide are accepted by the overwhelming majority of insurance companies all throughout the nation. However, every once in a while you will come across a specific insurance company that says the font is too large or the font is too small, or they would like it to be a different style font, so you would be able to come to this screen and make the changes accordingly. Once you've finished with all these entries, be sure that you click on the Save icon and save whatever changes you have made. The button for Patients is a relatively simple one. It will simply bring up a report that will show all the patients for this specific insurance carrier. The IntelliSense button is extremely important. In order to make sure that the insurance company is set up the right way, you must categorize it correctly. On the left-hand side, about halfway down, you will see a box that says Claim Type. The default is Group Health. However, you would need to click into this box and scroll up to the top and select Medicare for the Medicare insurance carrier. What this does is place the X in the proper box in item number 1 on the HCFA form, and it also activates many of the other Medicare-specific items that need to go on the HCFA forms. By selecting Medicaid, that also puts an X in the proper box in item 1 on the HCFA form, and it also activates certain other areas so that Medicaid-specific information will appear on the HCFA form. Group Health applies to most insurance companies, and if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield or Workers' Comp or something else, you should also make the choice accordingly. For the number of items on the claim, depending upon what the insurance carrier demands of you, you should always have at least one item listed on the claim. However, you should not have more than 6 items. Some insurance carriers want only 1, 2, or some number other than 6 as being the maximum. On the right-hand side, the only one of these items that should currently have a check in the box is Patient Tracers. Up at the top, you're going to notice an item that says Adjuster Night Owl Fax Collections. This is a feature that we are currently working on. The idea behind this is that in the middle of the night, provided that you have left your computer on, the computer, based upon criteria that you select, will search through all the outstanding claims and then send a fax notice to each insurance carrier, which basically says, patient so-and-so was in the office on such and such date for which a bill was generated to you on this date. You have not paid this bill yet. Where is the payment? It should wake up the insurance company a little bit. So if you can, please be sure to gather the fax numbers. When we have this as a functional part of the program, we will make sure that you become aware of it and how to work with it. Down at the bottom, you will notice where it says Split Claim Balance Due. This sets the default for this insurance carrier for each patient that you assign to this carrier. The numbers that go into the two boxes here are percentages. They must always add up to 100. The idea is that when you send a bill to the insurance company and then you receive the EOB back, the insurance never pays the full amount that you mailed to them. So the question is, what do you do with the difference? Do you transfer all of that into patient's responsibility and expect the patient to pay? Do you write off that entire amount, giving a gift to the patient in effect? Or do you in some manner split it with the patient? So from this area, you could have whatever you desire happen automatically when you are entering the information in the post-insurance screen. Just remember, these two numbers must add up to 100. If it says 100% in the patient column, that means the entire balance will be shifted into patient responsibility. If it says 100% in the write-off column, then it means any excess amount will simply be written off and the gift given to the patient. And by splitting it in any relationship, then it means that part of it is written off and part of it goes into the patient responsibility. Also on this screen, you can set the default copay that would apply specifically to this insurance company. You can set it as either a percentage or click on the drop-down arrow, change the percent sign to a dollar sign, and then whatever number you enter here will become a specific dollar amount. Also, if this company has a standard deductible, you would be able to enter that here and also enter the date that it is supposed to renew on. If you do not fill in a renewal date, it will automatically default to January 1st. For PPO HMO information, if you have a specific ID number, then enter it here. If you have a partnership indicator, then enter that partnership indicator over here. After you have completed whatever changes you're going to enter, make sure that you click on the Save icon so that that information is saved. Also in IntelliSense, this is where you are able to set up a fee schedule specific to this company. Click on the tab that says Fee Schedule, and then you would click on the Add button, which will bring up a procedure pick list. On this procedure pick list, you would select the category, and then you would select the item that you want to enter here. Once you have double-clicked on the item, it will automatically appear on this screen. The IntelliSense fee schedule is filled with a multitude of items. For example, let's use this line that says 41. This is for what is normally the CPT code 98941. However, let's say that an insurance company comes along and says, we don't want you to use 98941 for our clients. We want you to use XYGPK. By placing this alternative CPT code in this box, it means that this will override the 98941, and when the HCFA form prints out for this insurance company, it will automatically fill in the XYGPK instead of the 98941. When it comes to using a modifier, certain insurance companies require modifiers, while others do not. If you enter the modifier here, then this particular modifier will show up whenever you enter a charge for this service for this insurance carrier. It will not show up anyplace else. The place of service and type of service codes have been thoroughly standardized, so it is extremely unlikely that you would need either of these two columns. However, in these two columns, you would be able to enter alternative place of service or type of service codes should an insurance carrier get fussy and tell you that you had to. The allowable column. Let's say that your normal visit fee is $60. And by contract, or possibly by law, for example with Medicare, you are told what your allowable fee actually is. So that allowable fee may be only $39.22. By entering this allowable amount in this column, the system will bill the insurance carrier for your normal fee of $60. And it will then also place an accounting entry in this patient's account saying that the difference between $39.22 and $60 has been written off, and that way the system will only expect the $39.22. It saves you and your staff time because all of the entries are automated. In the copay column, if this were Medicare, you know that Medicare allows you to collect 20% of $39.22. By entering the copay here, this copay amount will be calculated based upon the allowable amount. Whereas if you enter the copay in the patient's regular insurance billing screen, the copay will be calculated on your full fee. Also, in the type column, you are able to modify that to a specific dollar amount as opposed to being a percentage if you need to do that. When you're finished with whatever entries you're going to make, be sure that you click on the Save icon and save these items. In the tab for service and product categories, you will know in advance that there are certain things that this particular insurance carrier is not going to pay for. That means that whenever this category of services or products is provided to the patient, that if you put a check in this box where it says not covered, then all of that will automatically be assigned to patient responsibility, and it will never be billed to the insurance carrier. However, if there is a secondary carrier where you know that the primary will not pay but the secondary will, then put a check in the box that says bill even when not covered. What that will do is assign the responsibility for the bill to the secondary carrier, but it will still send it to the primary carrier in order to get the rejection on the EOB that will allow the secondary carrier to pay. And then again, once you have made any changes, click on the Save icon. That covers the IntelliSense area. We can close out of IntelliSense, and we now come to the Medicare button. The Medicare button has several different items. The first one is the tab for Medicare patients. If you simply click on Display, this will give you a list of all the Medicare patients that are in the system. If in your Medicare district you still need to record subluxation levels, nature of illness, and the date of last x-ray in box 19 of the HCFA form, then you can make sure that the information has been entered for the patient here, and if you need to, you can click on a given patient, click on Edit, and then enter whatever that information happens to be. Once you make the entries or changes here and apply this, it will appear not only here, but it will reset the information in the patient's file as well. The second tab is for the Medicare claim format. And please pay close attention to these selections because you must have these selections entered correctly in order to get paid for Medicare. Box 4 should be when patient is not insured and Medicare is not primary. Box 6 should say when Box 4 is completed. Box 7 should note when Boxes 4 and 11 are completed. Box 9 shows when insured is Medigap. 9C, employer or school name. 10D should have absolutely nothing in it. 11 says none when Medicare is primary. 11A is blank when patient is insured. 11D is always. 15 is never. 29 is always. And 32 is duplicate address when home or office. At this time for Medicare, there should be no checks in the boxes down at the bottom. Once you have completed those entries, click on the Apply button. Also on this screen was added in a Deductibles tab. However, this Deductibles tab does not apply solely to Medicare. When you click on the Display button, it will list every patient, who their insurance carrier is, what is their deductible set at currently, and when does it renew. It will also show you how much of the deductible is remaining. On this screen, you cannot make any edits. If you click the Reset button, this will go through the entire system and reset every single patient to having the same deductible that they had last year and to the same amount remaining as last year. Once again, let me reiterate that if you have the amount remaining and it is set to the full amount of the deductible and the patient is going to meet that entire deductible in your office, then you're going to be fine. However, if the likelihood is that the patients are going to meet at least some portion of the deductible in offices other than yours, I would recommend going through each patient account and resetting the remaining amount to 0 and then making the adjustment for the rejections after the EOB comes back from the insurance carrier. Once you're finished on these screens, remember to click the Apply button, and then you will be able to close out of the screen. Once all the insurance information is in the system, and you want to find a specific insurance carrier, you can click on the binoculars. In the Find box, you would be able to type in the name of the carrier you're looking for, and then click on Find down at the bottom. And it will bring up whichever carrier meets those criteria. Another way of searching is to click on the All button, and that will give you an alphabetical list of all the insurance companies that are in the system. A third way is when you know the first letter of the insurance company name, click on that letter of the alphabet, and you will be able to find all the insurance companies that are listed under that particular letter. Once you have found the item that you're looking for, click on it, click on Apply, and that will open the catalog for that specific insurance carrier. Once you have made any entries or found any information that you need, always click on the Save icon, and then you will be able to close. This insurance information is critical to the success of your practice and successfully billing. Please review this frequently in order to be sure that you have everything set up the right way. Thank you for watching this training video. Should you have additional questions that were not answered here, please contact support@chiroped.com or call us at 973-625-3716. We will do everything we can to make sure that you get the maximum benefit from using the Cairo Suite programs.